So the software-defined edge enables manufacturers to implement a lot of smart technologies or Industry 4.0 technologies into their manufacturing floor, and also to manage applications that may be not at their manufacturing floor, for example, at their suppliers.
Our manufacturing customers have become more comfortable with technology, more comfortable with the digitalization that is happening in these environments. Now they're able to come to us and say, okay, let's make changes to the foundational things that we are doing to manufacture. So now we are seeing customers who are working with us to disaggregate the programmable logic controllers, PLCs, the hardware, becoming more commoditized, and putting software layers on top so that they can use that software to control all the things that are happening on the factory floor in a more effective, agile, and flexible manner. So it's no longer people running around the factory floor trying to update the PLCs when something needs to change, but rather everything happening in a software-based way that all of us are used to now.
So in manufacturing, there's a lot of digital initiative, smart factory, smart manufacturing. So in the end, they bring in a lot of new equipment application to address the use case, like improving the uptime, improving the quality of the product being manufactured. But this project never really get beyond the pilot phase, because after you prove the technology, you need to actually deploy, replicate it at scale. And that's where the product like Edge Compute Stack comes in, because we can help managing the life cycle deployment of the application and the infrastructure at the edge, so that the customer can focus on the business outcome.
So I would say specific to implementing an SD-WAN solution within a manufacturing environment, one of the biggest challenges we see is that they just don't have IT personnel sitting at all of these locations. So if I go out to a warehouse that's out in the middle of the country somewhere, they're not necessarily going to have dedicated personnel on site. So we obviously architected the solution in such a way that it can be what we refer to as zero-touch provisioning, but can be deployed by somebody that isn't necessarily a networking expert. So by just having them plug it in on site and do the physical portion of that work, everything else can be done by a skilled operations personnel elsewhere.
Another challenge is there's a lot of fixed function devices that manufacturing bring in as part of their digital manufacturing effort, right? Maybe for factory control, for camera, for computer vision, and so on. So after you try to implement this project at scale, you now have to manage all these different devices. And that's why running all these applications as a software on something like VMware Edge Compute Stack can help reduce the number of devices that manufacturer has to manage. And also, Edge Compute Stack can help deploying and replicate this application at scale.
A lot of manufacturers are looking at use cases like predictive maintenance, gathering information on sensors of their machinery so they can make a better informed decision on when to take it down for maintenance to get greater efficiency. They're also looking at computer vision applications for worker safety, for quality inspection, for inventory management, and many other use cases, including machine learning into their control systems, for example, into a welding robot to make sure the welds are perfect every time.
Just like in any industry, there are a million ways that an edge workload can be used in a factory. So for an example, if we take the automotive sector, and let's say there's a factory floor and they realize they're producing too many bumpers and not enough fenders. If you have a dedicated PLC, you've got a dedicated piece of hardware to control that workload. You would have to actually purchase a new PLC, or you'd have some that are sitting basically idle and others that are being overworked. If you virtualize your PLCs, run them on a standard computing platform, now you're much more agile. So you can change the workload that runs on top of that standardized platform to meet the needs of your business and meet your monthly output goals.
Manufacturing is an area which has been a long time coming in terms of its digitization and the transformation. But now that we are getting to the point where we're starting to have that digitization reach the core of manufacturing, the transformation and the impact that edge compute is having is just monumental.
We had a customer who's got over 7,000 employees globally, and they have operations in many different countries. We have a global network. We use VeloCloud SD-WAN to move all of that traffic globally across our private network, and then also to provide some unique routing functions. So for example, in China, We have the freight forwarders, we have the hardware certificate for the VeloCloud C. We also have the ability to, and the regulatory authority to bypass the Great Firewall of China. It's given them the flexibility to kind of leverage all these underlay networks, have private connectivity, but then have American internet and still have static IP addresses that'll follow them anywhere. So it's very important to them to have 24/7 operations, and the solutions have been able to deliver that, which is great.
So we've worked with a large global manufacturer since 2019 as part of a larger initiative to completely transform their IT environment and also provide a foundation for modernizing their OT environment. So we've implemented the VeloCloud SD-WAN solution to about 675 of their locations in 70 countries around the world. And that replaced a legacy MPLS-based network, and the new solution that we've put in place for them is part of our telco independent approach. So we're using hundreds of different ISPs and underlay providers, and then we manage it all as a single cohesive solution for the business.